This morning I read an opinion piece on the New York Times entitled, "The 40-Hour Work Week is in fact life." And this kind of hit me in a whole bunch of weird places. On one hand, I think I agree with the overall sentiment of the author, Roxane Gay, but at the same time, I'm a little my buttons were pushed by it, especially some lines like this. Many European countries model more reasonable work-life balance. Okay, so there she seems to be implying that a 40-hour work week is an unreasonable work-life balance. But on the other hand, the overall sentiment here is that the 40-hour work week is in fact life. She seems to be saying, hey, you're in America, you just have to do what Americans do, and that is work 40 hours a week. The reason this hit me so hard is, one, as I've said in previous videos, I really hate the American work ethic. It seems to be either way over the top, you need to dedicate your entire life to work. If you're not working 60 to 80 hours a week, you're doing something wrong or just complete and utter laziness. And that is not wanting to do any work whatsoever. We are completely split on this and not just have a reasonable approach to work and life in general. The other reason it hit me so hard is that 3 months ago, while I was out on paternity leave, Rescue Time, the company that I work for, switched to a 32-hour work week. Yes, a 4-day work week, not 4 10-hour days, but 32 hours. And we were given the choice of whether or not we want to work actually 4 days, or if we want to split those over 5 or 6 days for shorter work days. Now, we at Rescue Time really like to consider what it means to be productive at work and really wants to push the boundaries. And there's been so much talk about shorter work weeks lately, we decided to put it personally to the test. And so that's what we're doing. And so in this video, we're going to talk about just my reflections and my experiences as working 32 hours a week for the past 3 months or so. So let's dive into it. Hey, I'm Kelly. I am a father of 6. I'm a full-time software developer at Rescue Time. I'm a volunteer at Signum University, and on this channel I talk about productivity tips to help you be more productive so that you can get more work done in less time. Hey, 32 hours a week, so that you can just spend more time doing what you enjoy, whether that's volunteering or, learning the violin, as I talked about last week. So let's talk about what this experience has been like for me over the past 3 weeks of only working 32 hours a week. And I personally have chosen to work Monday through Thursday, most weeks 8 hours a day, though some weeks I alternate that Thursday for a Friday, as I'm just busy on some Thursdays with a homeschool co-op, or if I'm feeling just a little bit tired one day, I'll split up and do 5 or 6 shorter days. But one thing to keep in mind is that first, this is an experiment. We may as a company decide to go back to a 40-hour work week at a later date. I will keep you updated and let you know if that is the case. And these are only my personal reflections on working 32 hours a week. I can't speak for anyone else as the company. We've done a couple of private internal surveys just to get a feel of things, but I don't know the results of those, and I don't really know where the company is headed as a result of this shift. Once we do talk about that, and I'm allowed to share that with you, I will definitely tell you how this shift has affected the company as a whole, not just me personally. Okay then, so how have I found this? Well, I mean, probably understandably, I've found it to be great. I mean, I'm working 8 hours less a week. What would I not enjoy about that? But let's dive a little bit into the reasons. First of all, I don't know, but I'm guessing if you're working a 40-hour job or more, you've hit those points at the end of the week where you're thinking to yourself, oh, when's the weekend coming? I know I have. Usually that would be kind of, if it was a rough week, the end of Wednesday even, but usually Thursday afternoon, I'm like, I'm just ready for a break. I'm ready for the weekend. I am looking forward to just stepping back from work and letting my mind clear up a little bit. And that made Fridays pretty miserable. The thing is, in the past 3 months, this hasn't happened to me once. You might think to yourself, like, oh, well, you're just taking a day away, so maybe Wednesday now you'll be regretting that Thursday that's coming up. No, that hasn't been the case. I have found work to be so much more enjoyable, and I never once have not looked forward to coming to work for the day. And I don't really know how to say it more than that, is I'm not tired of work anymore. And before, I was getting a bit tired of work, especially after a long 5-day work week, and I wasn't finding that 2-day weekend to be quite enough to recover from. And so they talk about sleep debt, where if you have sleep debt, you don't really make that up, and you can fall further and further behind. That's kind of how work felt to me, where now I'm feeling invigorated, I'm excited to go back to work on Monday mornings, and I'm never really, throughout the entire work week, not looking forward to doing work. To sum it up, it just kind of feels right. Now let's talk about some practical details. To make this really work, we really tried hard to consolidate all of our meetings on either Mondays or Tuesdays. For me, this means Tuesday is a pretty meeting-heavy day, though I do have one that is an optional meeting on Monday. This means I can completely dedicate Wednesdays and Thursdays to uninterrupted focused work. So yeah, obviously the internal feels here are going to be rejoicing over a shorter work week, but let's talk about the kind of external output and just whether or not I'm being more or less productive. And the thing is, I am maintaining the same level of productivities in 8 less hours every week, and that's kind of phenomenal on its own. Unfortunately, there is a bit of a disclaimer to that. And that is that the past 6 months have been rough for me personally, and I haven't been at the peak of my game. And so that's 3 months starting before this shift, the last 3 months of Yolanda's pregnancy. I was just being less productive than normal. And after our switch to a 32-hour work week, nothing really changed. I was maintaining the same level of productivity, but that is less than my peak. I'm currently working through the issues that I am dealing with, and largely it deals with unorganization and just not being consequential in planning out tasks and projects. And so I'm working at getting basically my life completely that was a mess, a knoil of knotted strings, all organized and neat, so I can be just recentered and focused and more disciplined again. So I'll let you know if my productivity does increase, but what you, I guess, care about is no, my productivity did not drop, but it wasn't really at its peak productivity before we made this shift anyway. Now, you may be asking, hey, if only you had some sort of hardcore trackable data that would show whether or not you were more or less productive, like, say, rescue time. Now, unfortunately, rescue time stats are very unreliable for me, and that is because while I am developing the desktop application, I can't be running the desktop application at the same time. So those moments when I am most productive is when I am able to do the least amount of tracking. And so I can't really offer you any concrete data until I get back to doing some mobile iOS development in which I can run the desktop app at the same time as I do that. But I haven't done any mobile development for about a year now. I am looking forward to doing some in the near future. So hopefully in a couple months, I'll be able to provide some actual hardcore data on whether or not this feeling that I'm being this as productive, if not more productive, hopefully in the future, is actually what's happening. Now, as I said at the beginning, this is just my personal feelings of this change, and they have been, as I've said, phenomenal so far. I have loved the 32-hour work week. I can't say how this has impacted Rescue Time as a company, but at least being one of the employees, it does seem like things have just kind of been par for the course. Things have been steadily just going on as they should have been. I don't know if everyone else is accurately following the 32-hour work week, or if some of them are putting in a few extra hours here and there and still maintaining that 40 hours. I don't know that. Hopefully pretty soon we're going to have a discussion on that internally and just talk about how this is going and whether or not we're going to be continuing with this. And I personally really hope we are, because it has been just kind of an enormous grace in my life in a time that was otherwise very difficult. Now, yes, our 6th child was just born, and that has nothing to do with the difficulty. It all has to do with just kind of what I've inflicted myself with, just all these external pressures and just this disorganized life that I've been leading for far too long, of just letting things get out of hand and not doing my daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly reviews to just keep myself on track and focused towards the goals that I have set for my life and the projects that are helping me achieve those goals. I just let slip of those, and my life fell into complete ruin. Right now you can see this beautiful office, but if you look over there, which I am not going to show you, you would see a complete mess of just piles of things that just get thrown there as I'm rushing between different things. And so yes, this shorter work week has been a huge saving grace in this self-inflicted, stressful time. It has allowed me to just explore, take a step back and explore interests I haven't had. And it has given me the opportunity to take a step back and breathe a bit and explore interests that I haven't been able to pursue before, such as taking a Japanese class or the violin lessons that I'm now doing, and I'm going to be providing monthly updates on my progress. So I guess that's where I'll end, just by saying thank you to Rescue Time for being such an amazing company to work for, one that really cares about rethinking productivity for knowledge workers and really being compassionate for its employees. And so just thank you. You guys are the best people to work for. And I look forward to just, pushing the bounds of productivity in the future with you. Till next time, bye.